Hello and good morning, everyone, and welcome to this information session for the second Smart Mobility Community Challenge from the region of Durham and supported by the Durham RTDS. My name is Chris Gillis. I'm the Manager of Applied Research Business Development at Durham College and the lead at the college participating in the Durham RTDS. So today's challenge is titled Enabling Intelligent Transit Stops, and the purpose of this session is to provide companies interested in proposing a solution an opportunity to get a better understanding of the challenge and ask questions related to the challenge process. I just wanted to make a note on the questions that technical questions such as specifications or particular infrastructure available really must be submitted through the bids and tender page on the regional website. And this is because we're following a procurement process, and all such information really needs to be made available to all applicants in an addendum. And also, just a reminder, if you have questions, please put them in the chat on the right-hand side of your screen, and we'll get to those later in the Q&A session. And for small and medium-sized enterprises, I'd also like to remind you that becoming a client of the RTDS in parallel with providing a proposal for the challenge, you can do that. They're not exclusive, and I'll say a bit more about the benefits of becoming a client of the Durham RTDS a little bit later. So the high-level agenda for today is following this welcome. We'll have some brief remarks from Regional Chair John Henry, followed by Durham Regional Transit General Manager Bill Holmes. Then we'll hear from Jamie Austin, Deputy General Manager of the Durham Regional Transit, who will walk us through the challenge. And we'll have people from Ontario Centres of Innovation give an overview of the project of funding available through the OVEN program. We'll then have a live Q&A, and then we'll have our close. And so I'd like to welcome Chair Henry and General Manager Bill Holmes to make a few remarks.
Hi, I'm John Henry, Chair of Durham Region. Our organization prides itself on improving Durham Region's residents' lives through collaboration and innovation, whether it is using artificial intelligence to detect potholes on our roads, developing a first-of-its-kind smart home voice service, or championing the emergence of new vehicle technology. Durham Region is always looking for ways to innovate. It's what has helped us gain recognition as one of the top 7 intelligent communities in the world and one of the top Smart 21 communities of the year. We are thrilled to be partnered with the Spark Centre, Durham College, Ontario Tech University, and the Ontario Centre of Innovation to bring the next chapter of innovation to Durham. We look forward to the collaboration with our partners on more innovative projects and challenges in the future to help realize our shared vision of a better Durham Region.
At Durham Region Transit, we're building a reputation for innovation, whether it's launching our award-winning on-demand service, testing autonomous and connected vehicle systems, or embarking on our emission zero fleet electrification plan. We're committed to leveraging new and emerging technologies that can improve mobility while making transit more reliable, safe, and sustainable. We also want to ensure that public transit is a convenient mode of travel for all residents in Durham, regardless of where they live, work, go to school, or travel in the region. Through the region's partnership with the Durham Regional Technology Development Site, we're excited to launch Durham's second challenge to ensure a positive customer experience when accessing transit services. We're looking for innovative solutions to help us detect and communicate with customers at transit stops. Are you interested? For more information, please visit durhamrtds.ca.
Hi, good morning and welcome, and thank you for your interest in this exciting challenge being issued through the Regional Technology Development Site here in Durham Region. I'm Jamie Austin. I'm the Deputy General Manager for Business Services with Durham Region Transit. And I'm very pleased to be sponsoring this second challenge to be issued through Durham Region, working with the Durham Region Technology Development Site. Just going to provide a quick overview of some of the aspects of the challenge, and if I can just pull up my slides here. There we go. Let's see, don't seem to be able to advance. Just bear with me 1 second here. There we go. Might have to do it a little more manually. Just a bit of background, I think. First off, with about Durham Region Transit, we've existed since 2006, and we're the amalgamation of a number of local municipal transit agencies at the time. Today, we serve an area about 2,500 square kilometers. It's the largest of any transit agency in the Greater Toronto and Hamilton area. Uh, uh, the yearly ridership, prior to the pandemic in 2019, we had our highest ever annual ridership, just over 11 million trips. Transit agencies across the country obviously experienced some declines during the pandemic, but we're seeing some signs of recovery now. In 2022, we provided about 7.5 million trips, and have seen at the end of 2022 ridership get back over 80% of pre-pandemic levels on a monthly basis, and we're even seeing weekly in early 2023 getting back to 90%. So there's strong signs of ridership recovery within the transit agency. We deliver our services with a fleet of about 200 vehicles. And 80% of our customers are in about a 5 to 10 minute walk of one of our stops. And in total, there's over 2,300 stops in our network across Durham Region. So, a number of locations to keep track of where customers are accessing our services. And I need to better understand what the level of demand is at those stops, and what customers are doing while they're accessing or waiting to access our service. You heard in the video Chair Henry and General Manager Bill Holmes talk to the innovation that's happening at Durham Region Transit and more broadly at the region of Durham. This slide's just covering some of those key initiatives, including our emission zero fleet electrification strategy that set out our pathway to transitioning to zero emission vehicles by 2037. We've been undertaking connected and autonomous vehicle testing and assessments, including our 2021 autonomous vehicle pilot that was undertaken with a number of partners in the region, as well as other testing of connected technologies related to transit signal priority. On microtransit, I'm pleased to say we're one of the leaders in the country, and over the past few years, we've rolled out our DRT on demand service and expanded it to right across Durham Region. So any customer, regardless of where they live in the region, now has access to public transit service. You can either call and book a trip, or use the DRT on demand app and be able to reserve their ride in about 10 minutes or less. And then the other key area where we are doing some work is in data analytics. And we've been building our capacity over the past couple of years in this regard, leveraging the large volumes of data that we're able to gather to help to inform improvements from an operational perspective, from a customer experience perspective. I think it's fair to say we have a number of sources of data and information from our vehicles and from our fair transaction systems. What we don't have is a lot of information that comes from our stops and from customers who are waiting to access our services, and that's really what we're getting at with the challenge here today. And we're asking the business community to provide a detection and communication system for transit stops that enables DRT to understand passenger behavior at our stops and to improve the overall customer experience. And we will make available the opportunities to test that solution at stops throughout our network. Now we've got, depending on the location, the stops come in a number of different configurations and sizes. There's different infrastructure from shelters and lighting and cycle storage and benches and different amenities as well. And the screen here is one of the new digital next bus arrival screens that we're trialing at a number of our key terminals throughout our network. The stops also serve a range of vehicle types, including most of our fleet are 12-meter conventional buses. We do have a small number as well of 18-meter articulated buses. And then a number of minibuses, vans, and sedans that support our on-demand and specialized services customers. On a average weekday, the last quarter of 2024, or sorry, 2022, we have seen boardings of 500 to more than 2,500 passengers at our stops. Pre-pandemic, we could see numbers that were double that at some of our busiest terminals. So, significant volumes today, and those numbers are just growing as our ridership continues to recover. Some of the key insights we're looking for through a technology solution would be to understand the number of passengers we have waiting, and for how long they are waiting. And what's particularly key for us is understanding, the number of passengers who may opt to abandon their trip before boarding one of our vehicles. That helps us to understand if they're, lost customers, lost revenues. Passenger behavior and movements at the stops. Are customers primarily static? Are they making use of different infrastructure and amenities that are at the stops? And then, if there's an opportunity to understand the number of mobility devices or strollers or other devices that customers may be bringing with them, including bicycles, and whether they're making use of bicycle storage facilities that may be at the stop or loading them onto our bicycle carriers on the front of the vehicles. And lastly, just to mention some considerations. These aren't all mandatory requirements. These are just things to keep in mind. The challenge does ask for communications capabilities, so the ability for us to push alerts or information out to customers at stops, letting them know if there may be a delay in service or other important information that they may need to be aware of. Accessibility is key, so whatever the installation looks like, ensuring that it's not impeding accessibility of the stop, and similarly that the communications has capabilities to meet the needs of individuals with various abilities. To that extent, social equity is also a consideration. If there are personal technology devices that are required, obviously acknowledging that not every customer may have access to that technology, may not have data available at the stop. Privacy will be important, ensuring the privacy of the individuals in accordance with any applicable regulations and legislation, as well as those of adjacent property owners. We'd want to minimize or avoid any visual distractions to passing motorists. If you think of strobe lights or anything else that could become a distraction and safety concern, and similarly, obstacles being installed at the stop that could impede pedestrian pathways or that, and similarly present a safety risk. Impacts of weather or lighting conditions on the performance of the technology. And then portability, which is simply just acknowledging that in some cases, our routes do change, stops may need to be adjusted, and just understanding how permanent the installation is and or movable it is should that be required. And that's really the key points I wanted to cover off today. So thank you again for your interest in this challenge. Really looking forward to seeing the submissions and proposals that come in. And with that, I'm going to turn things back to Chris.
Thank you very much, Jamie. And wow, Durham Region Transit is certainly busy with a lot of smart mobility initiatives, and this is certainly an exciting challenge. I'm really looking forward to seeing what it brings up. So I'm looking forward to having you come back and join me at the Q&A later on, and we'll see if we get some interesting questions. Great. So just a couple of housekeeping items. I just, again, want to remind people that if questions come up as we go through this, please put them in the comment section and we'll get those in the Q&A just a little bit later on. And I did say earlier on that I wanted to just touch on the benefits of becoming a Durham RTDS client. And this is specifically for small and medium-sized organizations, although we are interested in larger organizations to join us as partners. But if you're a small and medium-sized organization based out of Ontario, you can access a wide variety of services by becoming a Durham RTDS client. May include, but are not limited to, things like business development and support, introductions, technical services, and access to special equipment through both Ontario Tech U and their ACE Centre and Durham College in terms of AI and cybersecurity and some other technologies there. Also, opportunity to be involved in demonstration projects and assistance in applying for funding, all with the aim of moving your product towards commercialization. So please do check out the Durham RTDS website, and you can do that either by Googling Durham RTDS or just typing all lowercase Durham RTDS at CA. And you'll also find that there is more information on the challenge there in the challenge page. And also this is where you will apply or submit your application. And we can take those both in two ways, through email, and you can just attach your application to that, or through a web form that will be available shortly. So with that, I would like to welcome our members from people for joining us from Ontario Centre of Innovation, John George and Sid Sagucha, who will talk a bit about the funding that is available through OCI and the OVEN program. So gentlemen, over to you on funding.
Can you hear me? Perfect. Thanks, Chris, for the introduction. I'm really excited to be here, and I'd like to welcome everyone to this competition. My name's Sid Sakuja. I'm the Business Development and Commercialization Manager at Ontario Centre of Innovation. In my role, I'm responsible for the GTA regions. Along with the GTA, I'm also responsible for regions north and east of Toronto. Along with that, I also cover the Windsor-Essex region. I'll pass it over to John for a quick introduction.
Thank you for that, Sid. My name is John George, and I'm the sector manager for the open programs at OCI. I'm part of a front-facing team, and my role involves interfacing with the industry, with the small and medium-sized enterprises who are looking to access the open offerings, and the various stakeholders that we have developed through our ecosystem. And we'll touch base on that as we move forward. Over to you, Sid.
Perfect. Can we pull up the slides? Perfect. So this is a quick overview slide about Ontario Centre of Innovation, what we do, how we support the community and the entrepreneurial ecosystem. Can we go on to the next slide, please? So what is OCI and who we are? OCI is a non-for-profit that is funded by the Ministry of Economic Development, Jobs Creation and Trade. For most of our programs, we match the industry contribution 1:1. We've been in existence for over 35 years and have contributed to countless Canadian success stories such as Coho, Auto, Genesis Biosciences, and many others. Our vision is to be at the center of innovation in Ontario, driving economic growth, jobs creation through investments and commercialization and adoption of new technologies. We measure ourselves on return on innovation. To this regard, our mission is to bring key players together to further support the R&D and technology development and the economic activities to get the highest return on innovation possible. In this regard, our mandate is to design such programs that ensure this return. As we move on to this next slide, this slide is a testament to the work that we've been doing. In last year itself, we've attracted over $200 million. We've invested over $200 million and have further attracted over $800 million in private sector funding, resulting in which we've been supporting over 900 startups and created and retained over 6,000 jobs. Now, a quick overview about our business development and commercialization team. So these are the people who are experts on the ground. These are the people who would come to you, who would help you form the connections and establish those networks that you need to further build your startup. These are innovation experts with extensive business and sector expertise, and they assist companies large and small with these activities. We also work closely with industry academic collaboration, where you as a startup or as a founder can leverage these academic collaborations to further assist your startup and to further develop your product offering. This slide gives you a quick rundown of the programs that we have here at OCI. I'll let John cover the Oven Network and the skills, talent, and workforce development. I'll speak to all the other 4 programs. The Ready for Market is a sector-agnostic fund that is basically set up to commercialize an academic IP. The Collaborate to Commercialize is an academic collaboration program where companies can work with researchers to further research and develop their product offering. Life Sciences Innovation Fund is a specific fund that is targeted towards companies within the life sciences sectors. Our investments over here are $500,000. Digitization Competency Center is another program that is to upskill and modernize your current workforce operations and tools that you have in your current processes. And finally, 111, it's the Canada's leading business incubator and is also a part of OCI, which has supported countless companies like Wealthsimple, Coho, and many others. And finally, we also work with international entrepreneurs through the Soft Landing program, where we support companies that are coming out of TBDC and other organizations. Now, I'll pass it over to John for the next slides.
Thank you, Sid. Good morning, everyone, again. So I'll be talking about the OVIN program. So OVIN basically stands for the Ontario Vehicle Innovation Network. It's a key component of the phase 2 of Driving Prosperity, which is a Government of Ontario plan. It's an ambitious plan that basically positions Ontario as a North American leader in developing and building the automotive and mobility innovations of the future through emerging technologies and advanced manufacturing process. And the Government of Ontario has committed an additional $56.4 million to basically support OVIN's innovative programming, to support the R&D partnership funding, talent development, regional technology development site, of which Durham is a part of. Durham RTDS is part of our RTDS network, and basically at the center of it is the OVIN Central Hub, which basically connects all the programming across the province. And we also have something called as a demonstration zones, which help SMEs come in and test and validate their technology. And how OVIN does is that OVIN supports small and medium-sized enterprises to develop, test, validate, and commercialize new automotive mobility technologies. And we do that to ensure we also help them hire new talent and also gain access to test and demonstration sites. Next slide. So basically, what OVIN is looking to work with is covered through the acronym as CASE. Sometimes you also have heard it as ACES. Basically, it's what they are referring to is they're talking about the connected, autonomous, shared, and EV technologies. And under the connected vehicles, we're looking to work with V2V, V2X communications, and so on. And under the autonomous vehicles, we're looking at perception, sensor data fusion. Under shared mobility, we're looking at ride sharing and car sharing platforms, Uber-like platforms. And under the electrified umbrella, we're looking at everything that's related to the EV technology, hybrid fuel cell EVs, electric powertrains, battery technology, and the whole gamut, basically. Next slide, please. So here we are looking at the OVIN funding programs at a glance. So as you can see over here, we've got 4 main programs. One is under our CAV and Smart Mobility, which basically focuses on the CA connected, autonomous, and shared mobility platforms. And we have something similar on for the EV. There's a program which basically focuses on the EV technologies. So both of these programs, they have funding up to $1 million. There's 2 streams for CAV and EV technologies. The stream 1 is for smaller programs, and stream 2, which goes up to $1 million and for a duration of 24 months. Winter Tech focuses on CASE technologies, but with a significant winter weather challenge. And talent development is for SMEs and multinational enterprises to hire talent from our institutions, and we help SMEs and multinational enterprises hire undergrads, grads, and postdocs for up to 24 months, and we support them with up to $30,000 and $35,000. Over to the next slide, please. And part of what we do at Owen, we also focus on the skills and talent portion of it. As you know, we focused on ensuring Ontario's automotive mobility talent and workforce is prepared to meet the needs of the future and maintain their global competitiveness. As you know, any innovation that we do is is not complete without the talent. So with the strong universities and colleges that we have across the province, we are supporting them and we are helping them churn out the talent that is required for the coming automotive mobility transformation. And some of the initiatives we have here is the upskilling platform, our career navigation navigator tool, and we have a new program called as a regional workforce program, which focus on upskilling the talent across the province. The next slide, please. And this is our final slide, which basically is a call, open call for people who is looking to become an OCI reviewer. If you want to play an important role in Ontario's innovation ecosystem by helping us review exciting commercialization and R&D projects, feel free to use the link below. I can also put that in the chat, and you can use that to enroll in the program. I think that covers the slides here. Thank you, everyone. Or if you have any questions, feel free to share that in the chat. Otherwise, over to you, Chris.
Great. Thank you very much, John and Sid. Really good stuff. And I think at this point, I'm going to ask Jamie Austin and Cheryl Bishop to join us for the Q&A, and we'll see what comes in. But just before I see a question in the chat, I did want to ask Cheryl, from a purchasing standpoint, there are a couple of key dates, both for questions to be submitted and also for the final application. And could you remind us what those are, Cheryl?
Absolutely. We're hoping to get all questions asked through the bids and tenders bidding system by February 16th.
Mhm.
And the application deadline is February 26th.
That's great. Thank you for that. And the bids and tenders is easily found on the Durham Region website, correct?
It is actually, I was just looking at the DRTDS challenge website, and there's 3 gray boxes. The first has a title of the full challenge details, and it kind of mirrors bids and tenders in a way. If you were to click there, it takes you right into what we call our NRFP 1079 2023 document, which fully explains from our perspective the intention of the evaluation process. The middle gray box is the submission details, which is where applicants would go to submit the application or click on and view the application itself. This is an exciting call to the marketplace. So applicants will submit their applications, they'll be evaluated, and when the selection team chooses a successful applicant, there is a challenge agreement to be signed. And that's the third box. So applicants will be able to click on that and view a copy of the challenge agreement. The expectation being that is the agreement that would be negotiated and signed by the successful applicant. So they can see all of that information online, be able to review that agreement as well, and submit any questions about those terms and conditions as well through the bidding system.
That's perfect. Thank you very much for that, Cheryl. And just I'm going to go to a question in the chat. Jamie, I think this is likely for you or some part of it. And the question is, as a transit rider, I want to know what the time to the next destinations on the route are predicted to be. And I'm just wondering if you're hoping to get that sort of information and like information that would, as you said, make the customer experience a good one with the ridership.
Yeah, and appreciate the comment. And I think this is a challenge is similar to that. I think we're looking for solutions that will provide us with insight that can improve the customer experience. We do have it, and I shared in the presentation an image that showed one of the digital next bus arrival screens we've got up at a select number of some of our key terminals, the Oshawa Center, Pickering Parkway, the Harmony Terminal. Right now that we've been testing out, and for possible expansion to other locations. That's not one of the asks of this challenge necessarily. This challenge is more focused on understanding, providing insight into the number of passengers who may be at certain stops. If we're seeing large numbers who've been waiting a long time, it can provide insight to our transit control center that an additional bus may need to be deployed to meet some of that demand, and just provide us with some overall insight into what passengers are doing, how long they're waiting, what amenities they're using, so that we can better plan and understand what customers are looking for and how they're making use of that the infrastructure at the stop. So again, we can make the customer experience when they're at the stops as pleasant as and as positive experience as we can.
Perfect. That's great. Thank you for that, Jamie. Appreciate it. Actually, we have a budgetary question, so I might throw this actually to John and Sid first, and then Cheryl or Jamie, if you want to chime in, please do. The question is what is the approximate budget for this project? And I do know that the expectation is it could be completed within, say, a 6 to 12 month, but maybe, John, you could talk to the OVEN funding, and you had mentioned that there was a maximum of $1 million in terms of funding. Could you maybe explain how that could work in terms of the overall project budget?
Yeah, thank you for that question, Chris. So, how our funding works is basically we do that by doing a project with the applicant. So it's a project that is done with an SME who's the applicant, and there's a primary partner who's from the industry. Basically, they are a primary partner in the sense that they are a viable market channel for the applicant. Because of the fact that our funding mostly focuses on commercialization of the technologies, we focus on, developing that partnership with the applicant. So the total budget for that project could vary from $300,000 to $3 million. And OCI would contribute up to 1/3 of that, depending on which stream we choose. For stream one, the total budget for a project is $300,000, and where OCI would contribute $100,000, which is 1/3 of that total budget. Similarly, on a stream two, the total budget would be $3 million or more, and OCI and OVEN would contribute up to $1 million, and it's a 2-to-1 match, or 1/3 of the total budget match.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much for that, John. And I don't know whether Cheryl or Jamie, you have any comment on budget size. I guess a lot of it is going to be determined by funding and the scope, but I don't know if there's anything from a procurement or operations side that you want to add in.
I don't know that there is at this point. I appreciate this is technologies that are in the development stage, and so it's early days. We've got over 2,300 stops, and so from our perspective as a potential user and purchaser of an eventual product, would need to make sure that the overall cost considerations would meet with where we would need to have these deployed. But that's probably getting a little far down the road at this stage.
But thank you for that. No, appreciate it. Cheryl, anything from a procurement point of view? I guess as long as it's consistent and reasonable with a project that would go 6 to 12 months, there's likely not any procurement concerns here.
I'm not aware of any procurement concerns. I believe it would be based on Jamie's response.
Okay, thank you. So it really, for whoever asked that question, it's really up to you as an organization and how to sort that out with the funding and the time period and the overall project deliverables. We have another question that's, again, sort of related to the funding. The ask is, do all applicants need to be Ontario-based companies, or could potential subcontractors be outside of Ontario? And I guess maybe from a funding standpoint, Sid, I don't know if that's maybe something you could answer.
For most of our applicants, we need these applicants to be Ontario-based. If they're not incorporated in Ontario, what we'd want to see is that at least 50% or more of their workforce is residing and working out of Ontario, because most of our funding that we do is to spur the economic activities and development within the region, within the province of Ontario.
Right. Okay. No, good. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. And I did want to come back, actually, Jamie, and just ask a question, because you talked about all of the assets that DRT has. It's pretty amazing in a large organization. And you talked about both the on-demand and the fixed. And I was curious, will this challenge be looking to be used in both of those services, or one or the other?
Yeah, so what we see is, particularly within our southern urban communities, the way on-demand works is it's a stop-to-stop. So it will involve pickups of customers at stop locations and drop off at other stop locations. In rural areas, it's more of a curb-to-curb service. But in, again, many of our urban areas, we will have on-demand vehicles using it. And with our specialized services as well, they've moved to more of an integrated service delivery model, where we see more transfers between specialized service vehicles to our conventional buses, which are all accessible vehicles as well now. So we're leveraging the accessibility of the full network of services we offer to provide the best service we can to our customers. So more and more we're seeing at these stops and hubs that we're putting in place that can facilitate these transfers between services. So again, you may have customers coming and arriving, being dropped off from one service, have to wait for the bus to arrive to board that service to continue their journey. So again, understanding this solution would help to understand in those circumstances, what's happening during that transfer period, how long they're waiting, what amenities and infrastructure they're making use of at the stop.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that, Jamie. So, clearly a well thought through multi-user sort of solution would be what is being looked for here. That's great. Just going back to our questions from the audience. Let's just see here. I have a question, and I'm maybe sure I'll ask you to respond initially. One is on approximate project timeline. I believe that's kind of outlined in the RP document, and I guess related to that is about no commitment to a purchase order. I'm assuming that's referring to that the region isn't committed to a purchase order, but maybe you'd just like to say a couple things about what the RFP document says about timeline, and from a purchasing or procurement point of view, how you would handle a winner of the challenge.
I guess, well, if I could ask anyone that is submitting these questions here to also submit them through the bidding system, that would be preferred.
Okay.
Then we can ensure we've gathered all questions and we're responding back in the manner of an addendum, if possible. So if we're referring to the project timeline, I'm not sure if maybe Jamie can answer that. I see that the document says that the successful applicant will work alongside the relevant regional departments and other end users for an estimated period of up to 12 months to demonstrate the proposed solution. So I'm not sure what the project timelines are, or if the person asking the questions has had an opportunity yet to read through the document. Some of these answers may come from there. So if there is a successful applicant and the challenge agreement signed, if we're making a purchase, I can only assume it would come after after that point.
Right. No, that's great. I think that makes sense, and I think the region has a number of options, including a purchasing option, but also it may simply support a funding application for the proponent too. So there's a lot of, I guess, scope in terms of how you might choose to go forward, and that should be all explained in the RFP document, I would say. I have another question down here, kind of looking for a little clarification, and maybe Sid and John, you can hop in on this. The question goes, just so I'm clear, the proponent will provide the initial funding, which then may be matched by Oven. And maybe you just want to go over that one more time, how that
Right.
funding might work, to try to just clarify that.
Yeah. So as I said, it's a three-way project, which includes the applicant, the SME who's applying, and then there's the primary partner who's partnering with you as part of the project, and then there's OCI. So it's a three-way project, right? So the total budget, whatever that be, at the end of whatever that is eligible to be put to the budget, one third of that will be matched by Open.
Mhm.
That's how the funding match works. So the applicant has to put in that entire funding initially because it's a reimbursement based program, right?
Mhm.
So basically, the total budget is put in by the initial spending is done by the applicant, and Owen would basically reimburse one third of that up to the total match throughout the total throughout the length of the project. And I
Exactly.
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, and I think there was a question just about that. What's the approximate project timeline?
Mhm.
So I think for the Stream 2 project, it can go up to 24 months or 2 years. That's the timeline
Okay.
we're looking at. So
Okay.
there's quarterly reports every 4 months, which basically helps the companies reimburse whatever they've expended that quarter. And one third of that will be reimbursed back to the applicant.
Okay. No, that's great. Thank you. And obviously, that the whole eligibility for basically funding would be identified beforehand. So
Yes.
the proponent would be in discussion with the OCI team, and they would know that before proceeding, and
Yeah.
they would then have to put in a good project proposal for funding to be awarded. So, okay, that's good. Thank you. One more question down here, and it relates kind of to size. The question is really about if basically a company is larger than 500 employees, are they eligible for funding? Is that a restriction on the OCI funding?
So,
Yeah, go
yeah,
ahead.
John.
Sid. You can take that.
Okay, so for most of the OCI fundings, we generally prefer to work with SMEs. So for most of our program funding, your organization size should be between 0 to 499. For some programs, we do have exemptions, but for every particular application, you'd have to seek that required exemption. On the open side of things, John can tell you more.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So I think I'd kind of reconfirm what Sid said. So our definition of an SME, is that they should have a global employee count of 500 employees or less. If they go above that, they're not considered an SME, and then they become more, like a sort of like a partner role because they are bigger in nature. So
Okay.
that's our stipulation.
Great. Okay. Thank you very much for that. And I see one more question. And Jamie, this is maybe to you, but it's kind of broad. Is someone's asking, are there any restrictions or limitations on the type of technology used? For example, video capture, will that be allowed? Or, will there be privacy restrictions for not using that? I think you kind of answered that previously, but maybe you just reiterate what you had said.
Yeah, I think one of the exciting aspects of the challenge process is we don't want to limit what the potential solution could be and which technologies uh, may form the type of system that we're looking for. Now, having said that, I mean, if depending on the technology, in this case, video capture, I would say no, we wouldn't want to exclude it, but you should give thought to how you can demonstrate that it will be able to meet all privacy requirements.
Mhm.
So just a suggestion I would have in terms of responding that whatever the technology that of those kind of considerations we walk through, privacy and accessibility I think are two key ones. We'll obviously want to ensure we're meeting all applicable privacy regulations and legislation, and want to ensure that it does not impede the accessibility of the stop in any way.
Exactly, and as you had mentioned, in addition to those safety. So,
Yep.
so thank you very much for that. So that would be important for all proponents, whatever they're proposing. Really, we have to follow all regulatory, legal guidelines plus the safety, and I think that probably is all well spelled out in the RFP document. Okay, just having a look through the comments here. I don't see anything else. I thought maybe I would give any of you a chance if there's anything you felt should be mentioned that hadn't. I don't know, Jamie, any last comments on this before we close things off? Or?
No, I don't think so. I think we've talked about just the kind of the commitment to innovation, looking at new ways of delivering our services, of engaging with our customers, of leveraging the data and information we have available to improve the overall transit experience. So really looking forward to seeing the proposals that come in here and how that can add to making Durham Region Transit an even more desirable option for people when traveling in the region.
Absolutely, very exciting. So thank you very much, Jamie. And Cheryl, any last comments you wanted to make from a procurement standpoint, or are you comfortable with what we've got?
Nothing I can think of.
Okay, Gran, thank you very much. And John, from an Oven point of view, anything you want to last comment to get out to the audience, and then we'll go to Sid.
No, I think everything is covered. So I mean, if there's any further questions on the old funding programs, I encourage people to reach out directly to me, and
Absolutely.
I can share my contact details if required.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, over to you, Sid.
Great. Thank you. Yes, Sid.
Same comment from me. If you're interested in any of the OCI programs, other than the Oven ones, you can directly reach out to me and I'd be happy to talk about them.
Okay, well, great, and thank you so much. So thank you all, Jamie, Cheryl, Sid, John, thanks so much for participating, and I think we'll go to closing remarks now. Anyway, thanks to the audience. Good questions and interesting conversation. So I hope you got the answers that you were looking for. And again, if you have technical questions that come up, you can go to the Durham Regional website under the bids and tenders page, and you could submit the technical questions there, and they'll go into an addendum. And thank you, Cheryl, for mentioning, again, if you've not gone to the Durham RTDS website and actually downloaded, there are 3 documents there that you can get that you'll see provide you with additional information. There's the final agreement, there's the submission or application form, and there's the full RFP tender document that will have a lot of the detail and more that Jamie described in all of that. Again, reminder on deadlines. Cheryl indicated that questions really need to be submitted by February 16th, and I do believe there's a 5 p.m. deadline on that. And then also the submissions are on or before, rather, February 26th. And again, submissions are made through the Durham RTDS website. You can either Google that or just type in Durham RTDS, all lowercase, .ca, and you'll be able to find that information there. And if you have any difficulty either downloading the documents or actually submitting your application, there's an email there, and it is info@durhamrtds.ca, and we'll provide you assistance as needed. So with that, I just want to thank you, the audience, for participating in our second challenge information session. Thank you very much for attending today's session. Please do spread the word. This will be available for a number of weeks as a video. So if someone missed this or you want to have a look at it again, you're able to do that. Please spread the word. And I'd like to wish you all a great day, and take care.